Well, welcome everyone to our presentation about Wi-Fi internet service for hospitality businesses. My name is John Barker and I'll be presenting this. And I want to thank Flytech for hosting this webinar. And I think you're going to find this very interesting and applicable to the types of contacts you have with customers. Now, why are we concerned about the Wi-Fi internet service for hospitality businesses? Well, the truth of the matter is that the hospitality business has changed a lot. Business travelers are fewer. The hotels which host business travelers are seeing less traffic, but other types of vacation destinations and travel destinations have increased considerably in the volume of people, especially locations like RV parks and campgrounds. There are a lot more people working remotely. There are a lot more people working as digital nomads, which means people who are traveling around while working. And so people demand a better internet service from the hospitality businesses. Obviously, hotels that cater to business customers have very demanding customers who need a good internet service. But other types of businesses like campgrounds and RV parks also have demanding customers who need the internet to do business. And so they're going to post reviews of the locations. If the review of the internet service isn't good, then that's going to reflect in the number of reservations they receive. So I think this is really important for businesses, maybe hospitality businesses that are not aware of the problem, but see maybe negative reviews or get complaints from guests. And so they're the ones who are concerned about this. Maybe they don't have the answer, and it's up to us to provide them with the answers to the questions they have about improving the Wi-Fi service. So let's do a quick review of the types of businesses that provide Wi-Fi service. Well, we know motels, hotels, resorts, retail, restaurants, coffee bars, shopping malls, airports provide a free internet. And generally, the internet service is not particularly good. If we're in a hotel, maybe the internet service is slow. Maybe we can get emails, but we're not able to stream videos. Now, there are other businesses that charge for the internet service. Internet cafes is one, but marinas and campgrounds, RV parks, all charge for the service, generally because they're out of range of 5G services. And so their Wi-Fi system is the only service available. Aircraft also provide a Wi-Fi service for travelers. Cruise ships provide a Wi-Fi service, and which is not cheap. They charge a lot of money for that service. Trade shows provide a Wi-Fi service. Airports charge for a service. Usually they give the first 30 minutes free and then charge for the service above that time. What are the characteristics? Well, the most important characteristic is the hotspot Wi-Fi signal is not encrypted, unlike a business Wi-Fi network, which would have WPA2 encryption. We can't encrypt the Wi-Fi service, otherwise we'd have to have someone available to start giving out the encryption keys. And so it's unencrypted. And so for that reason, the Wi-Fi hotspot service is considered unsafe, because using hacking software, we're able to capture messages. Manufacturers like Apple consider that public Wi-Fi is not safe, and they make it difficult for people to connect to public Wi-Fi. It's worthwhile noting that anyone using public Wi-Fi should always connect with a VPN service. And In fact, there are many locations where Wi-Fi is the only option available. People who are traveling internationally, arrive at an airport, they have no roaming on their mobile phone. And so Wi-Fi is their only means of communication. Wilderness locations like campgrounds have no Wi-Fi available from any other service, no 5G, and so they have to rely on the Wi-Fi provided by the campground, which may be using a satellite connection. Let's look now at some applications for hospitality guest Wi-Fi management. Well, here's a list. I won't go through them all, but I'll just review a few. The businesses want the system to be fast to install, easy to configure. They don't want any limitations like the number of users. And they want the service to be very easy to use so that their guests are not calling customer service. They want to avoid calls to the front desk asking, how do I connect to the internet? And so there are several other items there which are considered to be essential. Also, we need to protect the business because if we're providing open Wi-Fi connected to our business network, we don't want people hacking into our servers. And so we want to make sure we have a firewall there. We want to prevent computers with viruses accessing the network. We want to be able to share the service between guests, and so set maximum speeds. And what all hospitalities want is good reviews. People look at the reviews when they're making a decision about where to stay, and internet is an important part of the review. So if a hospitality business is getting 5-star reviews, it's got to get more bookings. And that applies to campgrounds, RV parks, bed and breakfast, boutique hotels, hotels and motels, large resorts as well. So people consider that when making a reservation. And so each type of business wants a 5-star review. Now, hospitality businesses range in size from the small, which might be an internet cafe, might be a coffee bar, a restaurant where maybe one wireless product is used to provide Wi-Fi access for the guests. It's important to have the firewall to prevent guests accessing the point of sale terminal. That ranges to the large installations where it might be a hotel, a large resort, a shopping mall may have tens or hundreds of wireless access points throughout the property to provide guests with internet access. Might be hundreds or even thousands of guests who want to connect to the network. And so we have to cater for this scale between just a small retail business and a very large hospitality business. There are special applications for guest Wi-Fi, such as RV parks and campgrounds, where we're not looking at providing access for an indoor area, but for a very large outdoor area. And so we need to look at different wireless technologies in order to provide a service to our guests. So maybe we're building mesh networks in order to provide the guests with the access that they want wherever they're located in the park. And RV parks and campgrounds can cover many acres of land. We have applications like not only one hotel, but a chain of hotels, a franchise. Maybe it's a motel or hotel franchise that has many different properties around the world. And so they want to be able to manage that guest Wi-Fi service in all those different properties. And this is important because they have different types of guests. For example, they have preferred customers who want preferential treatment. And so maybe they're going to get a faster internet service. Maybe they can connect to any hotel in the network. And so that's managed by the property management system. And so it has to be taken into consideration. We have not only large RV parks and campgrounds, we have public parks where maybe we have to provide special types of services for guests. Maybe there's no type of internet connection available, and so we have to use maybe one or more satellite connections in order to provide guests with the internet service. Another area of application is trade shows. We have telecommunications customers who install Wi-Fi to provide internet access in trade shows. And they have three different types of users. We have the people who pay for a booth, who want internet access for that booth. The event organizers want internet access, maybe even high-speed internet access. And then visitors who go to the event, maybe they get a limited free access, or else they want to purchase internet access, usually because a trade show has thousands of people, and it swamps the 5G network. And so the only way they're going to get internet access is through the Wi-Fi that's provided by the trade show organizers. Airports also must provide Wi-Fi for travelers. They have different requirements for the Wi-Fi. We have not only travelers, but we have staff, concession holders who also want to use the Wi-Fi network. And maybe they're going to share one Wi-Fi network between different users, and each user has a different type of connection to the network. Maybe they want to give a free limited service for travelers and charge travelers for an extended service. So what are the essential requirements for the hospitality business guest Wi-Fi? Well, I'm going to use the guest internet products as a method of illustrating these types of configurations, because these products have the features we're looking for. There are many other types of products that can be used, like nomadics, products, router products like Cisco or Microtech can be configured, can be scripted, or have scripts written which provide a basic type of guest management. The Microtech router, for example, has a captive portal, so it can provide a login page, it can generate access codes. Obviously, the router approach is very limited and also very expensive. But a business might spend $40,000 to configure a Cisco router, where they could have spent $2,000 to provide a guest internet gateway. The guest internet products are divided into four categories: the wireless products, business products, pro products, and then peripherals. Hospitality businesses usually install the business and pro products. The wireless products more for smaller retail and for applications like those in Latin America, internet por fisher, where people are selling a Wi-Fi internet service for cash. So the first consideration is the authentication method, and this depends on the business. A business might want guests to agree to the terms and conditions. It might want guests to use a code to access in order to ensure that only authorized people have access. It might want guests to purchase an access code using a credit card. It might want guests to provide specific contact information, or it might provide a very limited free access followed by a purchase. It could also authenticate devices, such as the MAC address of the device. And so a business will determine how it wants to authenticate its users, and it may want several authentication methods in parallel. And so the guest internet product can be configured to do this. We can also use the guest internet product to share one internet connection between many users. This is essential, because if we're not managing this process, then our internet connection can become congested. And in that case, the internet connection might shut down and disconnect people from the internet. And so we want to be able to maybe set maximum data speed limits for guests in order to limit the bandwidth that they're using, so that we can share the whole bandwidth between all the people who might want to be connecting. We can set, for example, a 2 megabit per second bandwidth, which is adequate to check emails and do basic things. and in that way we can connect a number of users to a much higher bandwidth circuit. Internet redundancy is also essential, and we have products like the GISR40 with up to 4 WAN ports. We have the ISP connection, which might be DSL or fiber, but we can also have additional connections like a Starlink satellite connection, a 5G ISP connection, or even a WISP point-to-point connection. And what these multiple connections do is to share the load between all the users. So we allocate users to different WAN circuits according to the data traffic, and so that's called load balancing. We also have another characteristic called failover, where if one of the internet circuits fails, then the users who are connecting to that circuit are moved to other internet connections to make sure that their service continues. We have applications for dual use wireless networks, where we have one Wi-Fi network that might be installed by a hotel and used for both staff and guests. And in this case, the wireless access points would have 2 SSIDs. The guest SSID is not encrypted. The staff SSID is encrypted. When the guest connects, the guest sees the login page, which is provided by the gateway, and so has to provide a code for access. The guest is blocked from the hotel network by the firewall, and so has no access there. The staff, on the other hand, is routed through the guest internet gateway on a different VLAN and connects to the back office network. And so the staff member gets an IP from the back office network, and the applications on devices connect to the back office network. And the two groups are isolated by the firewall. So the staff and the guests cannot communicate with each other. We have a multi-level login for airports and other applications where the airport can provide several different types of login. Maybe a free login for 30 minutes every 24-hour period. Those can be configured. After that free login is used, then the guest can purchase login using a credit card on an hourly basis, so purchased by the hour. It might be that a traveler has a subscription with a service such as Boingo, and so that traveler can log in with the subscription credential, and so the gateway will have an API connection to the Boingo server. Another essential feature is monitoring of network components. We want to be able to monitor the wireless access points, monitor the gateway, and monitor the internet connection. And if one of those items fails, then we want to get an alert message. This is very important because if a wireless access point fails, we don't know that it's failed. We only know that a guest is complaining that his internet is slow, and that's due because the wireless access point the guest should connect to isn't working, and so the guest is connecting to a wireless access point further away, which means that the data speed is much lower, and the wireless access point further away is probably getting congested. And so if any failure occurs, we not only want to know that a failure has occurred, but we want the information to find out where that failure has occurred and what steps we need to do to repair that failure. And so the guest internet product will provide this information either to the administrator or to a field service technician who is on site and makes the repair very quickly. And the fast repair avoids guest complaints, which is very important. Now, I mentioned the firewall several times. This is actually an essential requirement for most hospitality businesses because they receive payments with credit cards. And any business that has a credit card point of sale or uses a property management system to charge credit cards has to comply with the Payment Card Industry Data Security Standard, or PCI DSS. And this standard is a long document, about 140 pages, with a specification of every type of configuration that the business might have. And in the case of public Wi-Fi, it specifies that any public Wi-Fi that's connecting to the same internet backbone as the hotel systems must have a PCI DSS compliant firewall to prevent guests accessing the back office systems. And that is a requirement. It's not an option. It's a requirement made by the credit card companies for every merchant. There are applications for temporary hospitality systems, and these can be in many different types of events. Basically, we're going to power a system on batteries. We're going to use maybe a 5G modem or a satellite antenna. And we're going to share this internet service between a number of guests. And this can provide a service for the duration of one day. And this can be used for many types of applications: auto shows, outdoor music concerts, sports arena events, 5K runs, public parks, outdoor theatre, fashion presentation, beach community barbecue, boating event, cycling race. So there are applications. I personally have contact with people who provide Wi-Fi in outdoor music concerts and outdoor entertainment events. And so they're traveling around with this equipment in a vehicle. They get a booking for 2 or 3 days. They set this up, provide the internet service. Either the organizer pays them for the internet service, or they're charging for the internet service using credit cards. And then they move on to the next one. So this is a business for people who want to provide this type of service. The feature that's very important for many hospitality businesses is the application programming interface, the API. And this is important for systems integrators who want to make the guest Wi-Fi service part of the overall management system. And this is used by hotel check-in systems, such as Oracle Opera, which is now called Oracle Hospitality, a property management system. We have campground reservation systems where people make a reservation, they receive a gate code to get access, and they also receive the code for the Wi-Fi system. Another application is airline in-flight Wi-Fi, where the customer will pay for the Wi-Fi service, but a preferred customer who's a frequent flyer will get free Wi-Fi. And so that customer will provide maybe the frequent flyer number or some other credential to get access to that free Wi-Fi. In the case of a hotel, you may be familiar with this. For example, hotels like Hilton and IHG have a check-in process that when the guest checks in, the property management system generates an access code, which might be the first 3 letters of the name and the room number. And so that access code is then sent to the guest internet gateway by the property management system and registered as an access code. And so from that moment on, the guest can access the internet using that code. When the guest checks out, the property management system sends a message to the guest internet API to cancel that code. And so from that moment, the guest has no longer internet access. And it's worthwhile noting that the property management software can be configured by the company that's contracted to provide support and maintenance. The hospitality business doesn't have access to that, so they have to call the company to make that configuration. Another option for hotels or motels is the front desk check-in ticket printer. And so ticket printer like the GIS TP1 can be interfaced with the gateway, has a tablet with up to 10 buttons that the front desk clerk selects in order to print a voucher or a receipt for the customer. This same system is also used in internet cafes. And in fact, the GISTP1 has a connector for a cash drawer so that people can actually sell internet access using this method. The system is very simple. Once configured, the tablet screen has up to 12 buttons, and the buttons show maybe the duration of access. Tapping a button sends the code to the printer, and the printer prints a receipt, a voucher that's given to the guest. And that can have text information, it has the access code, and maybe the duration of the access code. An alternative is to use a letter printer and print out sheets of vouchers. And these can be configured, designed, upload a logo, put the text on there that communicates the service to the customer. And so codes can be generated, sent to the printer, printed out 16 per page, and then cut up and gift to the guest. This is very popular for Wi-Fi internet sales in Latin America, where people have small businesses selling internet service for cash. And so a voucher can be printed, sold for cash, and that gives the buyer internet access for a limited amount of time. I'll tell you a little bit about the product software configuration for guest internet. First of all, if you can want to find out more information, the guest internet web page has some videos which go into great detail about configuring these products. So this is an overview, and it covers all the products from the smallest wireless gateway up to the largest gateway for large resorts. All the software is in English and Spanish. It's ideal for Latin America customers, unlike other products which only have English, like Nomadics, or a router like Cisco or Mikrotik, which requires the person configuring it to learn English. So the guest internet products are very easy to use from that point of view. It makes them very easy to install, very intuitive graphic user interface, easy to understand. No specialist skills are required. In fact, a lot of these products are installed by hotel managers. They really don't need a technical specialist. This page shows a summary of the features. Once again, if you want to look at all these features in detail, there are presentations on the Guest Internet homepage that describe all these, the status reports, the management, the access codes, and the advanced settings, which allow a very flexible configuration of these devices, plus the cloud interface, the ability to manage individual gateways or gateways as groups, and monitor the gateways, and also don't forget the monitoring for failure and the alerting in case a failure occurs. So the gateway is configured very easily. When the first time a computer is connected, the setup wizard is displayed. The login page is configured very easily. Select the background, fill in the information, and press the button. And the login page that you would generate is shown there on the page. Once the unit is configured, logging in as the administrator will show the system information page, the dashboard, and aspects of the configuration can be selected here, plus the report showing the use of the system. The reports are quite comprehensive, numerical and graphical reports showing authenticated and connected devices, login reports, access codes generated, and billing reports if the credit card billing is used. We have also reports on the cloud, reports of each gateway, reports for the group looking at traffic and performance. And then on the cloud, we're actually monitoring the WAN traffic. This is very important because we don't want to have bottlenecks or network congestion. We want to know if the WAN has the capacity to carry the traffic, because if the WAN graph shows that it's approaching congestion, then we need to either increase the speed of the WAN circuit or get a second WAN circuit in order to have more bandwidth for customers. And there is a demo of this available on the internet. The login page has three options. The setup wizard, which I showed you, can generate a very simple page. We can also upload a background photo to that page. But we can also create custom login pages using HTML and JavaScript, like the one shown there. And in fact, we can create what's called a login, a wall garden login, which means that the guest sees our website and can navigate through the website, but then enters the login code to navigate away from the website. And so that's also very popular for businesses. There are templates which can be downloaded for the people who want to develop a custom login page. It makes it very easy to use for anybody who's familiar with HTML. Cloud management needs to be activated on the gateway so that the gateway communicates with the cloud. And then we can look at the cloud management features, a very high-level view. The cloud account can manage multiple devices in multiple locations. There's no limit to the number of devices that can be added to a cloud account. There are people using a cloud account with thousands of devices. It might be a hotel chain, a group of franchises. And so it provides a very convenient way to remotely manage, monitor performance, and also monitor the network for failures and take action if a failure occurs. The cloud is a valuable service for managed service providers, people who install the network and then sell a service. So as well as generating an initial sale, the company receives recurring revenue from the installation. And so what this company provides is remote management, changes to configuration that the client requires, but also monitoring the traffic, identifying bottlenecks, and monitoring for failures and taking action if a failure occurs. So the managed service provider can offer a 24/7 service to repair any failure that occurs and ensure that the guest gets a great service. And many hospitality businesses prefer to outsource this type of service instead of having IT staff taking care of it. So there might be resorts, motels, that type of thing. And also the managed service provider can outsource customer support. So if a customer can't connect a device to the network, as I mentioned, iPhones have problems, then the guest has somewhere to call to seek advice and is not calling the front desk. So the cloud is a very powerful money generating tool for the managed service providers. So the procedure to begin using the cloud is very simple. That's what the cloud display looks like. Create a cloud account, add the first serial number to the cloud account, and once the cloud account is created, add subsequent serial numbers. The cloud is great for managing large locations where we can configure a number of gateways as one large virtual gateway because it's configured as a group. And so the largest gateway might be able to handle up to a couple of thousand users, but we can add more gateways to manage tens of thousands of users. All we need is the high-speed access to the internet, the 1 gig up to 10 gigabit fiber, that we can share that bandwidth between all those users. Now, a brief mention of the guest internet product range. I mentioned that there are alternatives like nomadics, or it's possible to configure routers. The guest internet is the easiest and lowest cost method to manage guests for any hospitality business, divided into the groups of wireless, business, and pro. As I mentioned, the business and pro are usually the products installed by hospitality businesses. The wireless products are for smaller businesses such as retail or businesses that want to sell internet access using vouchers, the internet provision businesses. Guest internet works with any type of wireless product. There's no need to make any change to the network to install the wireless, guest internet product. The wireless access points all work with it. And here's a chart that shows how the guest internet gateway works. The captive portal has a number of authentication options. It can be agree to the terms and conditions. It can be entering an access code. It could be making a purchase with a credit card. And so depending on the authentication option, the user is routed to a different box. If it's a code, for example, the code can be stored on the local database and verified. If the code is not on the local database, it can be verified through the cloud group code. And so once the code is verified, then that initiates the timer for the code and enables the user to access the internet. And finally, the rules associated with the code are applied using the firewall. That might be maximum speed, or it might be the data volume. The cloud accesses the parameter database remotely to change the configuration. We also have the API and status remote access to the gateway, and we can also connect a computer to the gateway to generate access codes, or we can generate access codes through the cloud interface. And over on the right, the cloud has various modules which are shown in the diagram. The cloud can be expanded to an unlimited number of gateway devices and locations, and so it makes managing a large network very easy. Well, we've come to the end of the presentation. I want to thank you all for watching, and thank you to Flytech for hosting this webinar, and thank you to Valia for helping us set up the webinar. If you have any questions, you can contact me via the contact information there, the email address, the phone number. Please follow our social media accounts, which are listed there. We have a good blog, which is worthwhile looking, and also I've included the guest internet social media accounts. So right now, I can take your questions, and I'll close the display now, the presentation, and also seek your questions. You can either unmute yourselves and ask a question, or else type in a question in the comment area. So thanks for joining, and we'll go to your question.